Let me ask you about the things that tie you to Pakistan. Was your mother a great influence in your life all through your growing up period?
Very much. She was a great influence in terms of her views about life, politics, and even in sport. She was a great influence and she gave me a lot of love. I was very close to her.
If she was such a central part of your life all through that period, it's terribly difficult, I suppose, even now for you to not forget her, but to put her aside, put her memory aside.
You know, but you see, as a Muslim, I accept death. I mean, I know that, you know, everyone has to die, and you accept it, and I would have come to terms with it much easier. But I think what left a lasting effect on me was the fact that, you know, she could have been saved. It was I mean, had it been diagnosed early, it was a straightforward operation, and she would have lived. But I think what I could not come to terms with was the pain in which she died. You know, I saw someone that close to me for 2 months. I saw in extreme pain, which I think only people who've seen cancer patients, only they can know how they suffer. And I think that suffering and watching her die, that sort of touched me very deep, and it changed it was like a watershed in my life.
You did an amazing thing the other night, and you pulled in a tremendous number of celebrities, beautiful women, but that was the first time you'd ever stood up and said, I want you to help me to raise money. It was the first time you'd ever appealed to any of your friends to come forward and do that for you.
Outside Pakistan, yes. In Pakistan there was a big response, but outside I wasn't confident, you know, I wasn't sure how people would react to a hospital in Pakistan. My main idea was to tap the Pakistanis living in Britain.
Your mother said something about she didn't want you to bring back a Western girl as a bride to Pakistan.
Yeah, well, I was 18 then, and she was scared that if I marry a Western girl, she thought that either I would live in England, or I would come and bring her back, and eventually she would again take me back to England, or I would have a broken home, because the interracial marriages have not had a very good record. It's difficult for Western women to live there, and so that was her main argument.
But every time you went home, did she have, or your family, did they have lined up for you a whole lot of girls who you had to go and see and look at and think about and all of that, or not? How did it work?
Well, you see, I grew up in this house where I had 4 very independent, educated and strong-minded sisters, and a mother who was again very strong-minded. So, you know, they never agreed to one girl. I mean, I never remember that, you know, recently my sisters we had all my sisters who were all over the world, we got together recently, and they started giving me hell. Why aren't you married? You know, you're getting old and all this. So I had to tell them, I said, look, have you ever suggested a girl to me?
And yet, you see, the public sees you with a long line of very beautiful women, ranging from Emma Sargent, Susanna Constantine, Denise Lewis, and they think, how do they handle it? I mean, how do the women you've known handle the fact that you will probably one day go back to Pakistan and have an arranged marriage? You probably will do that still. How have they coped with this?
Well, for a start, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they cope with it. Most of these people you're saying are not really my girlfriends or anything. They were just friends. So they'd never had to worry about decisions about my marriage.
Are you saying you never come close to an English girl here, close enough to think about marriage?
I suppose I came to one girl who I came quite close to marrying, and it didn't happen.
Who was that?
That was Emma. And then, you know, since then, I haven't even thought of marriage.
Are you sure?
Very sure.
Are you cynical in a sense? Because, you know, your celebrity and the person you are and this sort of sex symbol that you have become means that a lot of women will be attracted to you because of who you are and what kind of publicity you can give them. Is that something that kind of annoys you, bothers you, frustrates you?
Well, a lot of it is very funny because, you know, I mean, you can't take it seriously. I mean, you know, if you go out with someone who you just escorting someone, because at times people invite couples. So someone you know, and I know a lot of women who are just friends, and you take them out, their photographs taken, and there's a whole gossip about you. So you can't take that seriously.
I know, in one sense I know what you mean, but in another sense I feel that it's so crucial for you to have the kind of press that you have. It's good press. You go back to Pakistan and you're a kind of hero, a kind of demigod there, because of the way you've been built up over the years.
I'm not sure that happens, because you know the reason I've been built up in Pakistan has nothing to do with me being with women. Or me being the...
Well, it's a talking point, isn't it? Every magazine I pick up and I read about you,
but
it's
that's
what
in
they
England.
say back in Pakistan, the kind of taxi drivers that stop and ask what your, love life is like in England.
And I think this is not normally the case.
This is all the press making it up.
It's definitely not the case. I mean, they do ask, they are interested in my marriage. They very rarely talk about women. It's a cricket crazy country.
When you go back to Pakistan, I know you go regularly, do you feel alienated in any way from it because you've spent a long time in England, because you've been to school here and you've worked out of here? Is there any sense of alienation?
Well, Pakistan is my home. Always has been, and I've never had any confusion about that. I've come to England first to study for 4 years, and then I came to play professional cricket here, because England is the only place which plays cricket in the summer. And I have so many friends over the years, so it's like a second home. But the winter, come September, I have this feeling, I start longing to go back.
You're very easy about it all, aren't you? Very cool on the surface anyway. So tell me how you relax. How do you unwind?
For me, I suppose if I'm really run down, I would like to go away in the wild. Just camp out for a while. I think that probably relaxes me more. If I'm really run down or I'm drained mentally, I think that probably gives me more energy and staying power. Vitality. I'm again fresh again. I went away in August to the mountains in Pakistan, and I think I came back so fresh and so live, and I'm ready to go back again now.